I'm alive. Welcome back for another stream. How are we all doing this morning? It's the Gameweek 4 deadline, and I'm looking forward to this one. Are we feeling better about this week after a horrendous Gameweek 3? Bring it on, I say. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This is my team as it stands. I've rolled the transfer, so the plan is to just take the two transfers into Gameweek 5, which is obviously midweek, and then reassess there. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about this game week. I have to say I felt good about last one, but this week I've got the whole 11 playing at home. Some great fixtures. So welcome to the stream, everyone, and thank you for being here this morning. We've got Dylan in the chat, Cheekster, Mo, Luke. Luke's brought Gundogan in. I like that move. Jacob, 123, Football Fanatic, John Chapman, Athera, Flair. I'm just YK, Samuel Fiddler. Welcome to the stream, everyone. How are we all doing? Lots to talk about as always. We'll do the news roundup shortly. We'll have a look at the scout selection, Kings of the Game Week, predicted points, most transfer players, clean sheet odds, and lots more. So welcome to the stream. Get your questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. Wan Sayazani has sold Trent. I don't know about that one. That's a huge shout, selling Trent. I know that Liverpool defence has been frustrating so far, but I think you have to give them this game week. I know Robertson as well has been a very frustrating owner, but I think you have to give them Bournemouth at home. It's one of the best fixtures of the season for me. And I know the premiums have frustrated so far, but I think this is the week that the premiums finally come good and represent the value and what we pay for them. So I'm on Salah captain. Who you guys got the armband on? Anyone not on Salah captain? Hi Brage, how we doing? Elliot says, Robertson and Gundo or Trent and Bernardo Silva. I'd prefer Gundo massively to Bernardo Silva. He's kind of playing like a second striker for City at the moment. So I think Gundogan's a great pick. So I'd have to go for the first option, but ideally Trent and Gundo, if you can find a way to get to that. Trent is top among all defenders for expected goal involvement, so he's due a return as well. And you look at Liverpool's fixtures, 3 home games in the next 4, so I think I would keep hold of if you've got the likes of Trent, Robbo, Diaz, those guys. You keep hold. Question from YouTuber. He says he's got Edison, James, Trent, Cancelo, Cucurella, Bailey, Martinelli, Salah captain, Saka, Jesus, Kane, subs are Ward, Andreas, Nico Williams, and Greenwood. 0.5 in the bank and 2 free transfers. So the starting 11 looks good to me. I would just make an upgrade on Nico if that was my team. I'd probably go Nico to Dunk. My team is very similar, and I was tempted to do the same. But in my case, I've just got 1 free transfer, so I'm rolling. But in your case, I would get rid of Nico, and I'd probably get Dunk. Hope that helps. Todd says Trent is overrated. Do we agree with that? Do you think Trent's overrated, or who's better, James or Trent? Who would you rate higher? It's a really hard one because they both offer different qualities, in my opinion. Arguably the 2 best right backs in the world. But who do you guys think's the better right back, Trent or Reece James? Call Me Jata says Trippier, Cucurella, or Gross to start. That's really tough. I mean, that's a benching nightmare. You shouldn't really get in a position where you're having to bench 2 out of those 3. I'd probably start Trippier out of those 3. I think Cucurella might play in left centre back for Chelsea because obviously Koulibaly's suspended. So maybe it's Cuckoo in left centre back and Chilwell in left wing back, something like that perhaps. Maybe Azpilicueta gets a start. Let's have a look at the news roundup, and there is some news from just this morning. So if you're a Maddison owner, Sam Martin, our go-to guy for all Leicester news, says he doesn't believe Maddison is set to be fit enough to start today. There was a rumour during the week that he'd picked up something in training and he was a doubt for the game. So, yeah, based on what Sam said, it sounds like Maddison's probably going to be on the bench for today's game. Maybe comes off the bench. So something to be aware of if you're a Maddison owner. Another player who is well, not even a doubt, he's not going to play today, is Zaha. He's going to miss the trip to Man City, which is good news for those of us that have got Man City defensive assets. I know even a lot of you are doubled up. I am. I've got Edison and Cancelo. So Zaha's going to be a big miss for Palace for the trip to the Etihad today. Bit of Everton news. They now have a striker after starting the season strikerless. They've signed Mope from Brighton. I think he's about 6.2 mil now. So it could be an interesting option. The fixtures aren't bad, but I don't think I'll be going there just yet. Newcastle news. Crazy this one. They've signed Isaac, or Isaac. I don't know how you say his name actually. From La Liga. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Real Sociedad they signed him from. So he's going to be an interesting one as well. They've priced him at 7 mil. So yeah, perhaps when the fixtures look a bit kinder for Newcastle, he could be an interesting option. Obviously, Callum Wilson's injured yet again, so he's out for a while. No Wilson. And lastly, some Man United news. Martial is out for the Southampton game with an Achilles injury, but Casemiro is fit to play after training all week. So it's going to be interesting to see how Casemiro looks, whether he adapts to the league straight away, what impact he has to Man United, how they line up. I think Eriksen's probably the player who suits best to play alongside him. But we'll see. YouTuber says, should I play Dunk this week then? Thanks for your help. No, I'm trying to remember your team. I don't think I would. I don't think... Was it Bailey you had? Yeah, I'd start Dunk ahead of Bailey. That's what I would do, YouTuber. Robin says, Kane or Haaland? I think for the next two it's Haaland, but then you could make the case for selling Haaland for Kane in Gameweek 6. I actually tweeted about this just before I went live. If you look at Man City's schedule, they've got Villa here. I think that... Is it Villa? Have I got that wrong? It's Crystal Palace, isn't it? I need to delete that and repost it. Let's delete that. Hang on. Oh, now you're not going to be able to see it. Oh, what a nightmare. It's Crystal Palace today. Hang on. Alright, there we go. So it's Crystal Palace today, right? And then Nottingham Forest. And then... No, that is right. Oh, why did I delete it? This is why I don't do it when I'm live. So, what is it? It's no, it's Nottingham Forest on the... Nottingham Forest on the 27th, isn't it? And then it's Aston Villa on the 31st. Is that right? No, alright, I give up. The point is, Man City have got 6 games in the next 3 weeks. So perhaps if Haaland starts the next 2, then you would say he's probably going to be benched next weekend because the midweek after that, they play in the Champions League. So I think you could make the case for selling Haaland, but I don't think just yet. I mean, look at these next 2 fixtures. Such good fixtures. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, both at home. And then it's Aston Villa. And then between Game Week 6 and 7, they play Sevilla away. And then between Game Week 7 and 8, they play Borussia Dortmund. So there is the option to sell Haaland there. But I think right now you definitely hold him for 2 home games. Because, you know, it would be a nightmare if he starts that Forest game and you've sold him. So it's a very risky one. So I think I'd give him the next 2. Mo says, today's the 27th. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm all over the place this morning. I've been a bit sick this week. I still actually don't feel 100%, but I didn't want to not do the deadline stream. So here we are. Right, so what else? Let's have a look at the scout selection for Gameweek 4. This is how the scout are lining up. Let me know what you think of the team. They've got Pope in goal, back 4, Trent, Cancelo, James and me. Midfield 3, Salah captain, Martinelli, Rodrigo. And then a front 3 of Haaland, Jesus and Tony. I have to say the scouts been picking good teams this season. Last season there were some very questionable picks, but I like this team this week. What do you guys think? It's probably one of the best round of fixtures of the season. All the big teams are playing at home. I know a lot of you even got have a full 11 playing at home. So yeah, I think it's going to be a much better game week than Game Week 4 was. But yeah, Nick Pope in goal, interesting one. I can see the logic there. Wolves aren't particularly attacking. That's kind of a trend last season that's flown into this season. Yashin reckons Ronaldo starts. Probably, yeah, with Martial out. I did read reports that Ronaldo's on his way to, where was it, Sporting? So maybe it's a send-off game, if there's any truth to that. Dexter says Rashford in. I think not just yet. I think maybe it's a bit premature. I'd like to see Man United continue doing what they did against Liverpool. They were brilliant against Liverpool, absolutely brilliant, but I'd want to see a bit more of that before I go there. My plan is to take 2 transfers into Gameweek 5, sorry. Oh no, I just got a text message that my groceries are out of stock and they're asking if I want a substitute. Hang on, let me quickly decline that. Decline. Accept. I have to do this, otherwise they just give you the most ridiculous substitutes and you end up eating awful food for a week. Right, I'm done. Yeah, so I'd like to see a bit more from Man United before I do that. You know, it's been one good game. They were absolutely flying in pre-season and it didn't translate into the first few game weeks. But yeah, last game week they were brilliant. Kieran says, what's happening with Undav at Brighton? Right now he's undoubtedly second choice. Welbeck's first choice for Brighton. So Undav, I think he's just kind of an option off the bench. Probably needs a bit of time to adapt. Clearly he's not there yet. So yeah, right now Welbeck is undoubtedly first choice, and they've sold Mopai. So perhaps Undav becomes an option down the line, but not right now. Welbeck's the one. Nicola says, what are your thoughts on selling Haaland and Eze for Tony and Diaz? I don't think I'd make those moves, to be honest with you. I think I'd keep hold of Haaland. I know Eze's got a really poor fixture, so you probably can't expect much from him today, but I'd be very tempted to keep hold. It just seems a bit risky as well to sell Haaland because he's got 2 great home fixtures, especially Forest. You know, he's going to be perhaps the most captain player here. It might be close between him and Salah, but not in the Forest at home. This is, again, the kind of fixture that could end 4-5-0 to City, in my opinion. I said the same about Bournemouth, and that was 4-0. And I think Forest is the kind of fixture that also could. So I'd probably keep hold of Haaland, but those aren't bad moves at all, Nicola. But I think I'd keep hold. Keep your questions coming in, and I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. XRTYS says, is it time to remove Trent if he blanks? You can definitely argue the case for getting rid if he blanks, but for me, I'm going to keep hold. I'm going to give him these next 4, whatever happens. You know, even if he drops in price, I'm going to give him the next 4. You know, the underlying numbers are really good. He's top among all defenders for expected goal involvement. So, for me, he's an easy hold because there's going to be clean sheets over these next 4. You know, I think Fabinho comes back into the 11 for Liverpool. So, yeah, and on top of the clean sheets, Trent's underlying numbers point towards him being way overdue for an attacking return, so I'm keeping him myself. Omar says, best Maddison alternative. Yeah, it's funny like how it's played out, because the start of the season there were so many 8mm mids, and it felt like you needed to have even 2 8mm mids, and really none of them have done particularly well. The best I would say is Diaz, probably after that Kulusevski. Matthew Hughes says, thoughts on Taylor Swift for a -4? Yeah, I don't mind that. She's a good artist, a really good songwriter, pretty good singer. I've seen her live once, and she was very good live as well, so I would say do it. I think Taylor Swift's probably worth the -4. Paul CX says, Captain Kane. Personally, I'm on Salah captain. I think he's the best option this week. I've actually got the predicted points here from FPL Review. And they've got Salah top on the projections. Diaz second, Trent third. Kane's fourth, so, you know, he's up there. And he's a good shout, don't get me wrong. But I do think Salah's probably the best option this week. And I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and back the projections. So for me, I'm on Salah captain. But, you know, we saw players like Saka, Son, all among the most transferred out players, and you look at this and it's definitely not the time to be selling these kind of players. I know Saka's been a really frustrating pick, but you have to keep hold for Fulham at home. You have to. I think Arsenal win fairly comfortably. Wada Dintwa says, hi Oscar, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday. I won't sing happy birthday, but happy birthday to you. Dr. Shirt says, Fofana to Chelsea. Yeah, so it looks like this deal is very close to being done. And if it does go through, then 4.5 mil. Chelsea defender is going to be very tempting. So, yeah, he could arguably be better value than Cucurella. So, yeah, definitely monitoring him. I remember a couple of seasons back, Rudiger wasn't in Chelsea's first choice 11. And then he kind of broke through. I forget who it was under now. Might have been Conte. And he was 4.5. And he was just such good value for 4.5 mil. And Fofana could be one of those again. You know, you can't go wrong for 4.5. So, yeah, I think it's the sort of player you buy. And you'd be happy to start him most weeks. Maybe even double up with Reece James. I did want to give a quick shout out to Fanslide before we get back to answering more questions. I know a fair few of you play this already, and some of you know that I've been playing it since the end of last season. It's the first in-play fantasy football game, basically, and it's completely free. So with FPL, obviously you lock in your team and then that's it, you're done. But with Fanslide, you play one-off matches. So for example, this is the Community Shield. You could see I think I had Rodri, Ake and Walker there. And then after 20 minutes, their time was up and you pick 3 players to slide on. So I slid Matip, Alexander-Arnold and Salah on. So yeah, it's great. It's like there's no stress if you have a bad game because you just pick the games to play. And I'm hosting a mini league which you can join for this game week. So there's a link in the description. It should be at the very top of the description. That's the link to join my mini league. So you can play against me this game week. I think the first game is Southampton v Man United. So I'm going to be playing that one. One thing to mention, it is 18 plus, but it is completely free. And I've also got things like global leaderboards and whatnot. I think you can actually see on there as well what it looks like if you get a player who scores. So for example, you get 2 points for Trent switching the play, and I think it's any second now he goes on to score in that game, and I got something like 23 points. There it is. So then Trent scores, and I got I think it was 23 points, which I got doubled on my bench. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. There's a link in the description if you want to play. I'm hosting a mini league, so click that if you want to give it a go. Question from Oliver Harlins. He says, Williams to Saliba and bench Bailey. I like that move. I think Saliba is going to represent very, very good value this season. He looks undroppable in current form, so I would say yes, I would make that move and I would bench Bailey. For me, I want to take 2 transfers into Gameweek 5, so that's why I'm giving Bailey the nod. I'm not sure whether he even starts or not. I'm hoping that he does. I think he's done enough to deserve a start. Got a great assist the last game. Scored in the League Cup off the bench midweek. So I think he deserves a start. So that's why I'm sticking with Bailey. I think I can just about get away with it. And then I'll take the 2 into Gameweek 5. August says, thoughts on Harrison and Rodrigo. I think they're both excellent picks. And I actually think they're about on par. I think Harrison's a really good pick as well. So I don't think Rodrigo's necessarily a better pick than Harrison at all. He just happens to have more returns so far. So I would say, yeah, both great picks. I like Harrison a lot. In fact, I don't know if I can pull it up now, but Harrison actually he's in like the top 10 for points scored this year. Let me see if I can find a tweet. Yeah, I was basically having a look at which players have scored the most points in 2022. So that obviously is like the second half of last season, but then also so far this season. Here it is. Check this out. This is FPL points scored in 2022. So Son's top. He's got 166 points this calendar year. Kane's second. But look at Harrison. He's up there. 112 points. Only 5 less than Salah. 5 less than Salah. I know that Salah obviously missed some games due to AFCON. But yeah, he's really flying under the radar, Harrison. And I think he's a very, very reasonable alternative to Rodrigo. Thank you, Andreas, for renewing the membership for 8 months. If anyone is interested in becoming a member, you get early access to my videos. There's a private channel on the Discord where I can give team feedback, members chat and so on. You get a badge by your name. And he says, Captain Diaz, Trent, Jesus or Erling. I don't have Salah. Ooh, that's tough. I think I would go Jesus against Fulham. It's between Jesus and Erling. If you wanted to back FPL Review's projections, I think they had Diaz second. They're Diaz second, Trent third. I would be very tempted by Jesus, though, at home to Fulham. I think he might have a couple of returns in this game week's fixture against Fulham, so I'd go Fulham. But the projections, FPL Review has Diaz second, so you can go with me or go with the projections. Dylan says, Jimenez triple captain or what? Not for me. Triple captain Neto, maybe. Not Jimenez. Beanbag says, became a member this week. Well worth it. Thanks, Beanbag. I didn't ask Beanbag to say that, or pay him to say that. Andreas or Aronson? Aronson. Thoughts on triple captain Salah? No, I'd save the triple captain chip. Later in the season, for those that don't know, you get double game weeks. And these are a result of games getting postponed because teams progress in other cup competitions. So say if Liverpool reach the FA Cup semi-finals, then they'll end up having a double game week later on because the FA Cup in the latter stages clashes with the Premier League. So you could, for example, have Salah playing twice much further down the line. It may not be till much, much later. You know, it could be like game week 33 or something. So say, you know, Salah could have West Ham United away and Newcastle away, something like that. And that's when you really want to use the triple captain because it maximises the chances of you getting good points off them. You know, imagine if he scores 2 in one game, 1 in the second game, you triple that, you know, getting something like 46 points just from one play on the triple captain. Andreas or Nico Williams? Who have Forest got? Forest have got Spurs. Andreas all day. Austin, thank you for also renewing the membership. He says, going to use a free message just to say it's well worth becoming a member. Thanks, Austin. Appreciate that, mate. And I appreciate using your free message up just to say that. Thanks, Austin. Do appreciate that. Start Neto or Bailey? I would start Neto. Is Triple City defence too risky? It's not. It's a little bit risky. Maybe not too risky, but what I don't like about it is it blocks all the other Man City options. So there's no way you can get to Haaland, KDB, those kind of players. You know, say like Foden or Grealish suddenly become must-have, or Gundogan's probably more likely. Then it's very, very awkward to get to that. It's a minimum of 2 transfers. So that's why I don't like the triple up in defence. Fragsy says Bailey isn't starting. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna just roll with it this week and hope for the best. He deserves to start. It's very, very odd that Gerrard hasn't been giving him the starts he deserves, in my opinion. Maybe because they don't really have any other out-and-out wingers, so Gerrard just doesn't know what to do with his team and how to line up formation-wise. You know, he's been using a front 2 at times, but Bailey totally deserves it, in my opinion. He scored a brilliant goal off the bench in the League Cup midweek as well. So, no, perhaps he was resting him ahead of a start this weekend. That's what I'm convincing myself anyway. So Lee Brennan for Dunk. No, I wouldn't make that move. I'd keep hold of Dunk. Dunk's a good pick. And I'd say there's not much to separate them in terms of how much they score over the next 5 or 6. Afis says, keep Haaland or sell. If I keep, captain or not? If you've got Salah, I think he's a better captain. Sorry, I just got a message. Just making sure it's not any leaks. Sometimes I get leaks and stuff like during the deadline streams, and I don't see them till afterwards and stuff like that. And anything I ever find out, I just want to share with you guys. Someone leaked a few weeks back that Bailey was going to be benched, and I didn't know at the time that it was reliable, and I started him myself. I think Andy, Let's Talk FPL, said that Robertson starts for those that were in doubt about Robertson, but other than that, I don't think we've had much. I don't think that was in much doubt, though. You know, perhaps there's a very small chance that Tsimikas gets a start, but I'd say it's unlikely. I think they line up very similarly, but I think Milner drops out. Probably Fabinho comes in. Tielemans starts for Leicester. Maddison likely to be on the bench. So, this is how the Kings of the Game Week looks after Game Week 3. Who joins the Kings in Game Week 4? I'll keep a record of this throughout the season, the top scoring player each game week. We've had back-to-back Arsenal players. It was Jesus' 19-pointer and then Ødegaard's 16-pointer. Who is it game week 4 though? Salah, Trent, Diaz, Haaland, maybe Kane or Son. It's often a completely random player, someone you least expect, like Kulusevski. Kodak says he's on a wild card, Diaz and Sanchez or Trossard and Ederson. Diaz and Sanchez for me, easy. Marwan reckons it's going to be Salah. Abdullah reckons Trent. Dangwin says it's going to be Aronson. Kevin also reckons Kulusevski. It's often a really random player like that. Last season's was just completely random players. There was like 6 Villa players last season. Not going to be Zaha, we know that for sure. Money May says he's saying Cucurella until it is. Yeah, just say it every week. It's bound to happen at least one week. Salah 16 pointer, says Rami. Don't know if it'd be Richarlison or Dunk. Dylan says, guys, trust me, triple captain Phil Jones. I have a good feeling. And he adds in brackets, it's not that I want to go up in the ranking, I promise. Alright. Who's got the balls to triple captain Phil Jones then? Should we get him in? I can't believe he's still on Man United's books. How has he pulled off that masterclass? So I'll get rid of Cucurella for... He's only 4 mil. I could just get rid of Nico for him. No, I may as well get rid of Trent for him, because that'll give me more money. How many own him? 0.3%. It's unbelievable that Man United still have got him on their books. I guess that's their fault for offering him a long-term contract. But yeah, shocking. Is Melia a good choice? Yeah, I think he is. I think Sanchez is probably the best 4.5 mil goalkeeper, followed closely by Raya and Melia. Abdullah Aziz says, Doherty brace. You know what? If Doherty cements himself back in the starting 11, like he did last season before his injury, I think he's 4.7 now. So he's going to be an absolute bargain if that happens. Definitely one on my watch list. Thanks everyone that has tuned in so far. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit like on the stream. We've got 1,600 tuned in. About 230 have hit like. So it does support the channel. I hate asking, but the YouTube algorithm literally uses stuff like likes for deciding whether a video or a stream is good. So hit like if you are enjoying it. Appreciate you all being here. Andrea says, how's the head-to-head league going? You know what? The head-to-head league was the only one I got a green arrow in last week. It was obviously a disaster game week 3 for most managers, but I went up in the head-to-head league. I'm not sure who I played. Oh, I played someone called Angelos, and he scored 2 points less than me, so I got 3 points from that. In fact, if anyone's not in the FPL Focal Mini League, I'll chuck the link in the chat, because I always forget to ask. So there it is, that's the link. If you want to join the FPL Focal Mini League, that is the link, and the code is OHQ B6D. OHQ B6D. There you go. If you're not in the mini league, that's the link. And your points start from game week 1, so don't worry if you're late. Thomas says, back Mitrovic despite the tough fixtures. I like Tony more. If you can find the extra money for Tony, I think he's the better pick. Mitrovic, not right now. Arsenal, Brighton, Tottenham and Chelsea in the next 4. Perhaps after that, you know, we've got the international break here. So if you end up wildcarding between game week 8 and 9, great opportunity to pick him up here. Newcastle at home, West Ham, Bournemouth. If you can get him in game week 8, even better for Forest. Not right now for me. Abda says Bailey to Jensen. For me, I don't like Jensen. I think I know he's started this season well, but he's never historically been a player that gets attacking returns, and I'd be surprised if he can sustain that. Likewise with De Silva. So I think it's probably a very sideways move at best. So I'd keep hold of Bailey. and find a way to spend that money elsewhere, like downgrading him and upgrading a defender, something like that. Mo says, what's your real name? Her real name is Oscar. I was wondering actually if I should add that on my Twitter, because I noticed that YouTubers have like their name and then their YouTube name and then their real name in brackets. So maybe I should do fplfocal brackets Oscar. Start De Silva over Andreas. I'd probably start De Silva, yeah. Mbumo or Bailey to start. Mbumo. Oblivious says, thoughts on starting Neto versus Veltman? I think I would start Neto. Playing at home this week against Newcastle. I know Newcastle are looking a much improved side, but I think I would give Neto the nod. Brighton away this week. I think against Leeds. It's at home, isn't it? I think Neto just about edges it for me. You know, he's got much more upside, so I'd go for Neto. You know, he could potentially get you a couple of attacking returns on a good day, whereas Veltman's probably just a 6-point ceiling. Howler says, what to do with Mount? Yeah, I really sympathise with Mount owners. I had him in a few of my drafts and obviously started the season poorly, and now it's a question mark what to do with him. I would give him this game, Howler. I would start him against Leicester. You know, Leicester have been so poor defensively. No clean sheets yet. They've conceded... How many goals they conceded? It's like 4 or 5. No, 8. 8 goals they conceded over the opening 3. So you have to give Mount this game. You have to. So, you know, he's nailed on to start as well. So you give him this game and then make a decision going into Gameweek 5. Super fun Alex says, who shall I swap Coutinho for? I've got 6.8 mil. I would say Martinelli is the standout there. Beyond that, Rodrigo, Gross, Harrison. There's not too many options, but Martinelli's definitely the standout. Mark says, thanks for the content. I've taken a punt on Guedes instead of Neto. Looked good against Spurs and Wolves. Next 3 fixtures still of interest. Yeah, I agree. He looked really good. I was looking at his stats, actually. Because I was wondering what to do with Bailey. And I did look at him. Yeah, he took something like 5 or 6 shots on his debut. Yeah, pretty impressive start. So I think he's a good option. I think he's 6 mil though, isn't he? So it costs more than Neto. But yeah, he's no one's got him basically, and he's not a bad pick at all. So the upside's massive if he does deliver this game week. Right, can you guys guess who the most transferred in player is heading into Game Week 4? Most transferred in player. Rodrigo or Gross? I would say Rodrigo. They're very similar though. Start Bailey or Dunk? Dunk. Start Andreas or Gordon? Gordon. Any news on Perisic, Oscar? There was a tweet yesterday from, I think it was FPL Hints, and it was really like unclear about what the message was, whether he actually starts or not. It sounded like it was a bit uncertain. Let me try and find it, and perhaps you guys could draw your own conclusions from this, on whether Perisic starts or not. It was a guy, I think he's got a contact at Tottenham. I think it was this. And it was, I would wait on Perisic. Here's what I told. Spurs source said, Perisic I think will go, so won't play, sun will shine. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I interpreted this as Perisic won't play. Right? It says here, so won't play, sun will shine. I mean, how difficult is it for someone to just send like a clear text message to this guy? But that's the best we got, so it's a bit unclear. Basically, if I had Perisic, I would start him. That's what I would do. There's nothing concrete, basically. It's the bottom line. OP Talent says, play Andreas, more advanced, or Da Silva for the fixture. I would think Da Silva I would play. I think Fulham are going to struggle against Arsenal. So I would start Da Silva. Yeah, the question was the most transferred in player. And the answer is Rodrigo. 1.3 million managers have picked him up ahead of the deadline. Perisic is second, 736k. This one could be an absolute disaster class if he does end up benched. But we don't know. That's the thing. Trippier's third. Tony, Saliba, Martinelli, Zaha. 330,000. This has actually gone up by 10,000 since yesterday, since we found out that he's going to miss today's fixture. So 10,000 people have brought him in since we found out Zaha's not going to play today. So yeah, he's out for today. Most transferred out. Koulibaly. I'll just update this. I think it's going to be over 500k now. It is. 500,000 have sold Koulibaly. Trent is second. 463k have sold him. Saka's third. Neto, Darwin. People are still selling Darwin. Still serving his suspension, obviously. Son. Some of these I think is going to backfire horribly. You know, like Son, James, Diaz, Saka. I think some of these transfers out really going to backfire. Cancelo, Kulusevski. I think keep patient would be the message heading into this game week. There's some very, very good fixtures for some proven assets. I know that they've underperformed so far, but proven assets. Will Scott says, Nico Williams out for Saliba or Gabriel, or roll the transfer. Rolling means starting De Silva today and likely being able to get Rodrigo in next week. For me, it's Saliba over Gabriel now. I think Saliba's worth it for the 0.4 mil saved. I don't think De Silva's going to get much, if I'm honest. So I would make the Saliba move and start him, and yeah, I'd probably bench De Silva. I think Roland's not fun either. You know, don't make transfers for the sake of it. If you guys have a decent enough looking team this game week, I would just roll the transfer, because game week 5 is on Tuesday, by the way. So it's only 2 days after this game week ends. We're into game week 5, so there could be some rotation. You never know what happens when the fixtures come thick and fast like that. So something to be mindful of. But I think I'd make the Saliba move there. I think he's a very good long-term pick. You know, you look at Arsenal's fixtures. Fulham at home, Villa at home, Man United away might be tough, but then they've got Everton, Brentford. So I think the Arsenal defence is worth buying into, and Saliba for 4.6 mil, it's an absolute bargain. Rodrigo or Tony? Tony. Get the questions coming in, and if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I've said it already loads, but thank you again for 100,000 subscribers. Monumental milestone, and it's only been like a year or so since I started the channel, so it's absolutely unbelievable. It's my 12th year playing FPL, but the channel is relatively new. I've only been making videos for about a year or so. So yeah, I'm forever grateful for that. Emil says, team news and ticks leaked the United lineup. Let's have a look. Man United leaked lineup. I don't think many people have got Man United assets, but I was curious whether they would start Ronaldo or not. Where is it? Oh, did they leak it on Instagram? I think I've got it from another source here. Man United league lineup is as follows: De Gea, Dalot, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, McTominay, Ericsson. Oh, no Casemiro. Okay. I thought we might see Casemiro and Ericsson in the pivot. Sancho, Bruno, Elanga and Rashford. So, is that the same 11? I think that might be the same 11, is it not? That played against Liverpool. I mean, it makes sense. Why change it? They played so well last game that I was expecting the same lineup myself. Rashford up top. Interesting one. Ronaldo on the bench. Casemiro on the bench. I think Dalot's had a price drop, has he not? Could be an interesting one if they do continue to show some form. Yeah, unchanged lineup. Makes perfect sense to me. I wouldn't change it either. Cristiano on the bench. What do we reckon? Does Cristiano leave or does he stay? I think it's best for Man United, for the player, for the dressing room if he leaves at this point. Maybe the fact that his wages have been a problem. I think some clubs are interested, but he's asking for way too much in terms of salary, which also surprises me, right? Because if he wants to leave for Champions League football, he's worth hundreds of millions. So does it really matter that much if you take a little bit of a pay cut? Tatenda says, in retrospect, do you regret leaving your full-time job for FPL? From my perspective, I feel the content has improved and you seem happier. Oh yeah, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, doing FPL full-time. Because I love this game anyway. And I always used to invest so many hours into it. And yeah, I started the channel initially while I was at my old job, and I was juggling both for a while. And yeah, it's only since the start of this year that I quit my job to do this. But yeah, it's a dream come true, you know, because this is like a hobby for me, FPL. So to be able to do it for a living, it's just crazy to me. I still can't believe it sometimes that I get to do this for a living. It's hard work, don't get me wrong. You know, sometimes you're working late hours. Like this weekend, I'll be working a lot because Gameweek 5's on Tuesday, so I'll have videos to push out throughout the weekend and so on. So it's still hard work, don't get me wrong, but to do something you love for a job is just the ultimate dream, isn't it? Jonah says, is it... Oh, it's gone. Jonah says, is it worth getting a second City defender? If so, Walker, I have Sanchez. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think Walker's not a bad pick at all. I think at some point he does get an unexpected benching, but I think he is a good pick for the next few fixtures. So you've got Sanchez, and I assume you have Cancelo. If you don't have Cancelo, I'd prioritise him. But I think Walker's good as a second City defender, yeah, definitely. Sanchez is a good goalkeeper, so you don't need to sell him. You guys reckon Ronaldo's going to leave? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It feels like, you know, he's been benched as well this season, so it feels like it's not going to be a good idea for him. He's the kind of stubborn player that just doesn't want to be on the bench either, right? Dallo or Da Silva. Thinking Dallo, but not sure. Is that who to start? I'd start Dallo. Triple captain Luis Diaz, yay or nay? I wouldn't triple captain Luis Diaz. I think he probably does do well. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets an attack in return, maybe two. But I would save it for the double game weeks. Later in the season, as I was saying earlier, there are double game weeks from postponed fixtures, and that's when teams play twice in 1 week. So imagine Liverpool get double game week, which is very likely, and you could have Luis Diaz playing twice, or even more importantly, Salah playing twice. And that's when you want to use the triple captain, in my opinion, because it maximises the chance of you getting returns. So I would say the triple captain. Afif says James Zinchenko or Robertson. Between those, for me, I would say James. Unless you don't have Trent, then I'd say Robertson. I still think Liverpool defence is worth the patience, worth holding. Ronaldo to Chelsea would be interesting. Surely there's no way that Ronaldo goes to a Premier League side, right? I don't think Chelsea would take him. Savra says, you look like AB de Villiers. AB de Villiers? Who's that? Is that a cricketer? Thank you, I think. A South African cricketer, isn't it? Fornals or Ward-Prowse? Ward-Prowse. James says, hi Focal, should I captain De Bruyne or Jesus? I'm back in FPL Review's projections this week, and they've got Salah top. If anyone is unsure on captaincy, then this is what FPL Review has projected, and I'm back in the projections this week. I'm going Salah myself. But yeah, you can see there's other picks like Jesus, Kane, Haaland, all good shouts this week. But Salah's well out in front, and I've got the armband on Salah myself. And those of you that watch the Expert series will have known that the majority are on Salah captain as well. What about Emerson? Yeah, Emerson signed for West Ham, 4 mil. Definitely one on the watch list, because if he breaks into the West Ham starting 11, maybe they switch to a back three, with Cresswell playing left centre back and Emerson left wing back. 4 mil would be an absolute bargain. He'd be a better pick than Nico or Patterson for 4 mil. Nunez or Trippier? Start Dallo or Bailey? I think I'd start Dallo, but that's really a tough one. Just because we don't know how Gerrard's going to line up. He's just, for whatever reason, he's not giving Bailey the starts he deserves. Last game week, he obviously finally got a start and assisted. He came off the bench in the League Cup and scored a few days ago, so he deserves to start in my opinion. But you don't know Gerrard. He seems to be doing the opposite sometimes of what seems like the right thing. Rumours of Perisic not starting. Yeah, there are some rumours going around that he's not starting today's game. I think there was a rumour that he got a knock or something in training, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we had the Man United lineup, which was De Gea, Dallo, Varane, Martinez, Malacia, McTominay, Eriksen, Sancho, Bruno, Elanga and Rashford. So unchanged for Man United for the first fixture today. And just a reminder again, I'm going to be playing Fanslide for the Southampton v Man United game. So if you want to join my mini league, links in the description to play that. It's completely free. We were talking about it a bit more earlier, but just a reminder, final reminder to join my mini league. It is totally free. Really, really fun game. I've been playing it for a while and I can't recommend it enough. So if you want to give it a go, link in the description to get the app for free and also to join my mini league. Start De Silva or Aronson. Start Neto or Henry. I think I'd start Neto. Paul O'Keefe says Perisic starts. Interesting. Mixed reports on Perisic. We've got about 10 minutes till the deadline. If anyone's not a member of the FPLfocal Discord, it's completely free. It's got things like the price changes, lineups, live scores, live points, bonus points, Gameweek stats, injury updates. There's channels for just about everything you need from an FPL perspective, and it is completely free to join. I'll chuck a link in the chat for those of you that aren't a member, and I'll be on there immediately after the stream wraps up. That's the link. Donation from Mo, thanks for that. He says, hey Oscar, my team is template plus Neto, Perisic and Haaland. 2 free transfers and 0.3 mil on the bank. Suggestions, I want Rodrigo or Gross, but I don't have enough funds. Ideally I need to know your full 11. When you say template, I guess it's probably similar to mine. Mine's very template as well. In terms of how to get to Rodrigo or Gross, I don't think I'd just get rid of Perisic, that's the thing. I think I would keep hold of Perisic. So it's very hard to find those funds. Obviously Neto has to be the one that makes way for him. How much is Harrison? Is Harrison 6 mil or is he 5.5? I think Harrison's honestly a very, very reasonable alternative to Rodrigo. He is 6 mil though, so I don't think you can get to him. That's the problem. It's hard to suggest as well without knowing all your players. How much is Gross? 5.7. So I think you can afford to do Neto to Gross, right? So I would just do that. You can't get to Rodrigo without making 2 moves. And then you're basically having to sell someone like Perisic, which seems quite risky. So if you can afford it, I would just do Neto to Gross. But I'd be very tempted to just roll the transfer this... Oh no, you got 2 free transfers. Yeah, in that case, I would do Neto to Gross. Yeah, you don't have a way to get Rodrigo, so I would just do the Gross move. And I think he actually scores about the same, if not more than Rodrigo, over the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Yogesh says, start 2, bench 1. Neto, Bailey and Andreas. I would start Neto and Bailey. We've got less than 10 minutes till the deadline. Keep your questions coming in and I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. If you are enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Jensen or Trippier. Cucurella or Williams. Cucurella or Perisic. I think Perisic. You have to just trust that Perisic starts. There is that risk that he doesn't, but Perisic is the higher upside pick this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Cucurella starts left centre-back this game week and Chilwell gets a start in left wing-back. So it has to be Perisic. Start Neto or Andreas. Neto. Saka or Bailey. Saka. Is Maddison going to start? I believe he's not. I believe Maddison's going to be on the bench today, based on what Sam Martin told us. He's our Leicester in the know, and he said that he believes Maddison's on the bench, and I would personally trust what he says. So I think Maddison's probably benched today. Pep or Klopp? Pep. Oh, did I miss a super? Let me scroll back up. Apologies. Neto to Rodrigo or Gundogan. Love the low ownership. Gundogan for me. I think Gundogan's a quality pick. I'm looking at him potentially as a move in game week 5. He's kind of playing like second striker at time, and he's so clinical, unbelievable finisher. And I think he's only about 7.5. So, you know, 7.5 to get a City striker in a way. The second striker. Gundogan for me, much higher ceiling pick. Mendy or Melia? I would say Mendy. Gross or Tony? Tony. Good lad, Oscar. Thanks, Ike. Will Bailey start? It's a coin toss. I think he starts, but it's really tough to say. I did ask. I know an Aston Villa in the know, and I asked, do you know if Bailey starts? And he said Gerrard probably won't decide till tomorrow because they play tomorrow, not today. So unfortunately, I have absolutely no idea regarding whether Bailey starts or not. Trossard or Gross? I actually think Trossard between the two, if you can afford both. We've got 5 minutes till the deadline. Final reminder to make sure your bench is in the right order. Something to easily overlook sometimes. Captain on the right player. Vice captaincy locked in. Start De Silva or Mitrovic. Mitrovic. Is Zaha going to play? No, Zaha's out for today's game. The Flisk in the chat. He says, let's go. How are we doing, Flisk? Hope you're well, mate. Start Bailey or Mbumo. Mbumo. De Silva or Mitrovic. Mitrovic. Veltman or De Silva. Veltman. Diaz for Kulu. No, I would stick. It's hard to say who does better this game week out of Diaz or Kulu. It seems like a very sideways move this week. I would just stick. Dunk or Veltman? Dunk. Best Newcastle forward. It'll be Isak, if that's how you say his name. But it's too early to move for him now. One for the watch list for sure. Great signing for Newcastle, by the way. Raya or Henderson? Raya. Maddison or Son? Son. Maddison's likely to be benched today from what I've read. My understanding is that Maddison's going to be on the bench. Something to be mindful of if you're a Maddison owner. Botman or Rodrigo? Rodrigo. James or Cuckoo? James. Bailey or Dunk? I think Dunk. Just about. That's a close one. And obviously, I have to just reiterate that I don't get all of these right, and I have to think about these just in seconds. So, you know, if you've spent all week thinking about something, you perhaps have better judgment than me in the 5 seconds it takes me to answer and think about the two. But like anyone, you know, no content creator is 100% right. Elanga for Neto. Oh, don't think so. I don't know about Elanga. I think it's too soon to move for Man United assets. I want to see them sustain what they showed against Liverpool before moving for any Man United assets. You know, if they put on a really good performance today, then I'll consider it in Game Week 5. You know, maybe Bailey for Elanga or something like that. But I think it's too soon. Shah or Dunk? Dunk. Jensen or Cucurella? Cucurella. Eze or Andreas? I think Palace are really going to struggle without Zaha, so I'd go Andreas. No, I think I'd start Eze, to be honest with you. He's looked absolutely quality so far. He's been brilliant, and he's looked quality in pre-season as well. I watched a little bit of him in pre-season, and he was one player I talked about in pre-season videos. I said that from Game Week 5, Eze could be a great pick. Zinchenko or Saliba? If that's who to buy, I would probably get Saliba. If it's who to start, Zinchenko. James or Trippier? James. Captain Haaland or Jesus. I'll put the predicted points on screen one more time. This is FPL Reviews projections. If you want to trust the algorithm, then this is how they're projecting in terms of points this game week. I'm on Salah captain myself. I think Jesus and Haaland are both equally good picks in my opinion. The projections have got Haaland ahead of Jesus. Cuckoo or Walker? I would say Cuckoo. Harrison or Neto? Harrison. Alvin Block says, what's your moves this week? I'm rolling the transfer this week, taking 2 into Gameweek 5, which is obviously only on Tuesday night. So I think having 2 banked will be helpful for that. Excuse me. Neto or Aronson? If that's who to start, I would say Aronson. I think Aronson's probably the better pick there. What to do with Zaha? I don't know if we know the severity of the injury or not, so it might just be worth riding it out unless you can get to a good pick like Diaz or Martinelli. Start Trossard or Emerson Royale? Trossard. Trent to Cancelo? No, stick with Trent. Bench Ben Mee or Andreas? Andreas. Is Bailey starting? Don't know. I'm starting him, but I don't know. Saliba or Gabriel? Saliba. Tony or Robertson? Tony if you have Trent. Otherwise Robertson. Cuckoo or Da Silva? Cuckoo. Rashford or Nunez? Rashford. Callum says deadline crossed. Lan says locked. I think that is it. 11 o'clock UK time. That is the deadline. I just realised I forgot to tweet my team. I'm going to get some stick for that on Twitter. Let me take the screenshot now. People hate it when I don't tweet my team, because I guess some people want to copy what I'm doing this season, which I don't encourage. I would say play your own game, guys. If you want to copy me, then so be it. I haven't started this season as well as last season anyway, 1.5 mil, so I would say play your own game. Let's do a quick tweet of the team. Game week 4. Lock. Boom, that's tweeted. If you're not following me on Twitter, by the way, it's just fplfocal. Same on Instagram. I don't even bother posting on TikTok nowadays, so don't bother about TikTok. That is the deadline. Thank you all for tuning into the stream. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you did, please do hit like on it before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Alvin Block says, we'll be at 250k in no time, mate. Maybe in a year or two. Is there anyone live who we should raid? Whose streamer should we raid? Let's have a look at who's live. Who is live? Who should we raid? Can I filter on live? Is there anyone worth raiding today? We raided FPL Link last game week. Top guy. We could do, what about this? Insanely Football. They've got 6 watching. Go raid this stream. Insanely Football. Right, we're going to head over to Insanely Football stream. Tell them Focal sent you. We'll go raid over there. Thank you all for tuning in to the stream. I hope you did enjoy it. As I say, please do like the stream before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We're going to head over to Insanely Football stream. Go show them some love. Tell them Focal sent you. And that's it from me. Focal out. Final reminder to join the Fanslide mini league if you're not in it. Link in the description. And I'll see you soon.